Good afternoon, Eliu. Thank you so much for coming on the channel today. I'm so honored to have you, and I am so excited for us to talk about all things health insurance and how that can affect someone's overall financial journey. So let's kick it right off. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, your background, and what you do, please.
Sure. Well, it's a pleasure to be here with you, Amelia, first of all. My name is Eliu Vinas, and I am a licensed health insurance agent. I like to refer to myself as an expert health advisor because that is basically what I do. I am able to help or advise people on their best health coverage solution, regardless of where they live. It could be anywhere in this country across all 50 states. And the reason why I'm able to do that is quite simple. There's only 5 different channels or ways of getting health insurance that are available in the USA. And what I do is I use my knowledge across all 5 of those channels and the access that I have to the specific plans within each of those channels to help each person determine what is their best health coverage solution, whether it's for themselves, for their families, or for their small businesses.
So I'm glad that you mentioned the 5 channels of health insurance, because before you and I had met, I only knew of a handful of the different channels out there, and quite honestly wasn't able to categorize them in my head. So I guarantee that there are other people watching this video that have no idea that there are 5 different channels. Can you explain what those are before we move forward?
Sure, absolutely. I'd be happy to. And I'll give a couple of details or examples of each channel. But basically, the first channel is Medicare. If you are age 65 or older or totally disabled, then Medicare might be an option to help cover you and your medical expenses. The second channel is Medicaid. Not to be confused with Medicare. Medicaid is actually insurance that is available to people of lower income. If a person is below 200% of the federal poverty line, which currently stands at 12,500 annual household income, right? So 200% that amount, $25,000 a year or below, that person may qualify for Medicaid. The third channel is actually the single most popular way of getting health insurance in this country, and that is insurance through your employer. If you have a group plan that your employer actually offers you benefits, that is usually the most common way, and most of the time it will be the best way for a person to get health insurance. As a matter of fact, over 130 million Americans rely on the health coverage provided through their employer as their primary source of insurance. Now, that is not always the case. Some employers pay a greater percentage of the monthly premium for the employee than they do for their spouses or for their dependent children. So sometimes, depending on the situation, it might be good to have the employee on the group employer plan and then maybe look for alternate ways of coverage for the rest of the family. But if a person does not have insurance through their employer, they are not age 65 or older, so they don't qualify for Medicare, and they're not of lower income, so they do not qualify for Medicaid, that leaves the remaining 2 channels, which are probably the most common used channels of health insurance outside of group employer plans. And those channels are ACA compliant individual plans and non-ACA compliant individual plans. ACA is basically the Affordable Care Act. It is what is commonly referred to as Obamacare. And, I get a lot of people that really have some erroneous ideas or conceptions of what Obamacare is. Oftentimes people think that Obamacare is insurance for poor people, and that is not at all the case. Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, is simply a law. And some health insurance plans comply with that law, other insurance plans do not. And so what I do is I help determine, depending on the individual's specific medical and financial needs, whether a ACA compliant plan will be in their best interest, or if they do qualify medically for them, perhaps a non-ACA compliant plan would help that person or that family get better coverage while reducing their monthly premiums.
Okay, so I guarantee someone watching this video is probably thinking, what does health insurance have to do with Mills Knows Bills? And I know you and I have had this conversation numerous times, but I think I should ask you again, why is health insurance important, right? Let's start there.
Yeah, health insurance is it's actually a key component when you're sitting down and determining your finances. As a matter of fact, if you speak to any financial advisor, they're probably going to tell you that a good defense is your best offense, right? In other words, you could be investing, you could be taking positive measures to try to grow your money, but unless you have a good defense set up, and that those savings could go away very, very quickly. And an example of that would be if you have unexpected medical bills that are outside of the amount that you're able to afford. I know this personally. In the year 2008, I actually had a car accident, a serious car accident, and I was hospitalized for 28 days. And my medical bills as a result of that accident were over $1.5 million. Could you imagine if I had to pay out of pocket for that accident, those medical bills? I mean, I'd still be paying for it today. I probably would be for the rest of my life. So anytime that we're looking at finances and making sure that we are protecting ourselves and our assets and our families or even our small businesses, we want to make sure that we are protected and that we have a health insurance plan in place that once we reach that amount known as the stop loss point or our out-of-pocket maximum, that insurance is going to cover us to the moon and back for any additional medical expenses we may incur.
I love the analogy of offense and defense. I think it takes a lot of these complicated concepts for people and makes it understandable, right? So offense and defense, I love that. I know we talked about the 5 main channels of health insurance, but can you talk about the different types of health insurance?
Yes, that's actually a very good question. And there's a lot of times there's certain people that when they're shopping around or they're trying to find what health insurance option is in their best interest, they don't take into consideration that there are different types of health insurance that are available. The only health insurance that really should be considered is health insurance that offers unlimited catastrophic coverage. And that goes back to the point that I was just making. You want health insurance that should something unexpected, very dramatic, with tremendous amounts of medical bills occur, you want to make sure that you have a fixed amount, that once you pay that amount, you are set, you are done, and the insurance company is going to pay the rest of the medical bills from that point forward without a cap. And there are some plans out in the market that are not unlimited catastrophic coverage. They do not offer that. They are known as fixed indemnity plans. And what a fixed indemnity plan is, it basically means that there is a fixed amount to make you whole. In other words, they will pay up to a certain amount for whatever medical expenses you may have. In the example that I used earlier, if I had a fixed indemnity plan that was capped off at $250,000, which seems like a lot of money, but my medical bills were $1.5 million, well, who do you think is paying the remaining $1.25 million? It would be up to me because my plan was capped at a certain amount. And that is actually very common with a lot of the short-term plans that are out there. It's surprising to me how many people I talk to that are on short-term plans for extended periods of time. I'll tell them, how long have you been on that short-term plan? And they'll say, oh, like 10 years. I said, well, 10 years, I mean, it says it, right? Short-term. They're designed to fill in the gap between one plan offering unlimited catastrophic coverage, such as an employer plan or the ACA plan, and another type of unlimited coverage plan. They're designed for the short period, usually 6 months or less. So the first thing that anyone should consider when they're determining what health insurance option is in their best interest, or if they're analyzing what they currently have, make sure that it is a plan that offers unlimited catastrophic coverage.
And you teed that up perfectly. How can someone know what type of plan they have, right? You're in the industry, you know this jargon, you know the types of things to look for, but how can someone tell what type of health insurance plan they have? And can you also go over the different components? You briefly mentioned out-of-pocket max. What are some other key words and what do those mean as well?
Sure, yeah. So I'll start with the second part of that question. What are the different components? The example that I like to use all the time is the following. I say, well, somebody that pays $300 a month for their health insurance is paying less than somebody that pays $400 a month, right? Seems like an obvious answer, but the answer is that no, not necessarily. You see, what you pay every month for your health insurance, that's what's known as your monthly premium. And that is just one of the components that determines how much you're really paying for your health insurance over the course of a year. There are other components that should be factored in as well. However, many people don't. As a matter of fact, if you go to healthcare.gov, which is basically the ACA or Obamacare marketplace website, and you put in your information, you'll see that you'll see all the plans that are available to you. And the first plan that comes up is always labeled most affordable. And from that point on, the plans are then listed in the order of lowest monthly premium going up to the highest monthly premium. And what happens most of the time is that that plan that comes up as most affordable actually has a higher monthly premium than the lowest monthly premium plan. And sometimes people say, well, how can the plan come up as the most affordable when it's 80, 100, or even more dollars per month than the next least expensive plan? And that's the reason. The reason is that your monthly premium is only one of the components that determine how much you really pay for your health insurance. There's also your annual deductible. The annual deductible is how much money you need to pay out of your pocket before the insurance company starts paying a percentage, usually 80 or 90% of the medical bills from that point forward. There's also the maximum out of pocket, or the stop loss point that I referenced earlier. That is the maximum amount of money that you will pay out of pocket on any calendar year or policy year, depending how your policy is written, for anything that could happen to you. So if you have a $5,000 deductible and a $10,000 max out of pocket, and you have bills of $1.5 million, well, once you reach that $10,000 max out of pocket, you are done. You no longer have to pay a penny. The insurance company is paying the rest from that point forward. And then, of course, there are co-pays for services, medical services provided. And the way that I illustrate that copay, a lot of times people say, well, I have a copay of $25 when I go to the doctor. So that means that when I go to the doctor, I only pay $25. That might be true, but that doesn't necessarily mean the case. I kind of compare this to the fee, right? The cover charge. If you go to a nightclub, right? There's a cover charge at the door, and it's $10 or $20, whatever it is, to get in the club. All that's doing is just granting you access to that particular area, right? That club. That does not mean that when you pay those $10 or $20 that all the food or drinks or everything else that you get inside that club is covered by those $10 or $20. And the same thing happens with copays. Copay is just kind of like a fee that you're paying to get access to that specific medical procedure, whether it's an office visit or an MRI, anything that is a medical procedure that is being provided. However, what happens a lot of times is that a person will go to the doctor, they'll pay their copay, they think they're done, but the doctor, in order to diagnose what they truly have, will recommend a series of tests or perhaps lab work or a bunch of other procedures that may not be covered by the insurance policy, are definitely not going to be covered by that copay, and therefore understanding what amount of money out of pocket a person would be responsible for should they need one of these medical procedures that the doctor has recommended. That's why it is important and should be factored in when determining the true cost of any health insurance. And then finally, to answer your other question, how does a person know what health insurance they have? Well, if you have a group employer plan, or if you have an ACA compliant plan, you know that you have unlimited catastrophic coverage. If you have a non-ACA compliant plan that also says unlimited catastrophic coverage after your annual maximum out of pocket has been met, then you are good to go. However, if you have any short-term medical plan, such as the Golden Rule, Aspen, National General, many others, or if you have some kind of medical sharing services, where it's a bill sharing service, sometimes they're very popular because they're less expensive. Believe me, those are not unlimited catastrophic coverage plans, and really, I would dissuade anyone from going that route.
So you talk about 5 main channels of health insurance. You talk about different types of health insurance. There's a ton of jargon involved, like premiums and deductibles and copays. Someone is watching this video, they have no idea what you just said. And they know that they need health insurance, or they already have health insurance, but they're not sure which one is the best for them. How can they know what policy might be the best for them?
Well, the easy answer would be to call me. Basically, have someone that is in the business day in and day out, that is aware of all the different channels, all 5 channels, all the different plans that are available within each channel, and can direct them in the best possible way. You see, when it comes to health insurance, there is no one company that is superior to another or one particular plan that is necessarily better than another plan. It all comes down to what the specific needs of that individual are, whether it's the medical needs or the financial needs of that individual, of that family, or even that small business. And so therefore what I do is I just get a general idea of what the situation of that person or that family, what are their specific needs medically, financially. And sometimes it's a matter of going directly to one channel. Sometimes it's a matter of dividing, divide and conquer. Sometimes when it comes to health insurance is the way to go, particularly if any member of the family, specifically there are children involved, may qualify for some kind of subsidy or a government assistance to help pay for their health insurance. Well, why not put that member of the family that is getting that financial help on that plan, and then limiting the number of people that would have to pay for their health insurance out of pocket. So that's something that when you are able to really access all the different channels and the plans within each of those channels and give good advice is definitely something that I offer and that I think anybody can benefit from.
I remember a few months ago, you actually helped me with some family members when they lost a job during COVID, and you provided numerous options after figuring out what each person's needs were in terms of health insurance within that family or my extended family. And it was great being able to call on you and have peace of mind knowing that we all had options. So if someone else wants to contact you, what are the best methods? What platforms are you on?
Well, you can always call my cell phone. That is one thing I always tell customers, if you get insurance without an advisor or without somebody really kind of guiding you through the process, you're going to get three things. You're going to get an insurance card. You're going to get an 800 number to the insurance company's customer service, and you're going to get a good luck wish, right? Good luck trying to get any questions answered, having somebody answer the phone in a timely manner. When the person eventually does answer the phone, having somebody over on the other side that is competent and that takes an interest in the reason why you were calling. With me, you have access to my cell phone 7 days a week. I always answer my phone, and you better believe that if I don't answer when you call, you will get a call back very, very quickly. In addition, you can always email me. You can always contact me on my personal insurance agent website. You can look me up on Facebook, where I often put educational videos, very brief educational videos, just with some examples of the customers that I have helped, and different little tidbits of information that can help anybody make an informed decision when it comes to their health insurance.
Eliu, this has been fabulous. Thank you so much for enlightening us with all of this difficult jargon that most of us have never gotten explained. So thank you so much. And I look forward to many more videos with you, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you, Amelia. It was my pleasure.